Hari Hari, the 8 primary queens of Krishna. This is the story of Queen Rukmini, part 3. The 8 primary queens of Krishna are Rukmini, an expansion of Lakshmi Devi; Satyabhama, expansion of Bhumi Devi; Jambhavati; Kalindi, expansion of Yamuna Devi, Yamuna River Devi; Mitravinda, Nagnajiti. Nagnajiti is the expansion of Neela Devi; Bhadra, and Lakshmana. Key characters are Narad Muni, Bhishmaka, the father of Rukmini, the king of Vidarbha, the capital city of which is Kundina. Rukmi is the older brother of Rukmini. Damagosh is the father of Shishupal. Daruka is the charioteer of Krishna. Jarasandha is one of the great enemies of the Yadu dynasty. Nanda Maharaj, the father of Krishna. Pradyumna, Krishna's first son. So Rukmini, she's in the palace, and she has not heard, she has no idea whether or not the Brahmin has reached Dwaraka, what's happened. There's no news from Dwaraka, there's no sign of Krishna, and it's becoming closer and closer to the wedding date. All of the Damagosh, Shishupal, Vidurata, Paundraka, Jarasandha, everyone has come, all the other kings have come, they've all come with their armies as well. Because of this rumor, somehow someone found out, or at least there's speculation that Rukmini sent a letter and Krishna might come and try a kidnapping. So all of these demonic kings have all come there with their enormous, incredibly powerful armies, hundreds of thousands of soldiers. And Vidarbha looks like a military camp rather than the joyful atmosphere of a wedding of their most favorite princess. So Rukmini, she's really quite disturbed now, because now the wedding, a traditional wedding takes about 5 days. A traditional Vedic wedding is up to 5 days. So it's the first day of this 5-day period. And in other words, the wedding has actually essentially started. It's a 5-day process. So it has started. It ends, of course, and it is, how would you say, the final ceremony is the most important. It happens, it's concluded on the final day with, of course, a fire sacrifice. But there are many smaller activities and things going on the 5 days leading up to it. So it's the first day of this 5-day period, and the things are starting to happen. Little ceremonies here, activities there, things are going on because it's now the wedding week. And Rukmini is freaking out. Well, sorry, wrong word. Rukmini is becoming a bit distressed because there's no word, there's no information. It's the second day of this 5-day wedding process, and more activities, more and more ceremonies. The pavilion, the area is completely ready. All kinds of things are going on. The Brahmins are there chanting mantras. No word, message from Krishna. 3rd day of this 5-day wedding ceremony. More events, more activities. Everyone is becoming really excited now. There's music throughout the entire kingdom of Vidarbha. Everyone is in a festive atmosphere. 5-day holiday, better than Thanksgiving, sorry. 5-day holiday. Everyone is thoroughly enjoying what's going on, though the citizens of Vidarbha really do want Rukmini to marry Krishna. But Rukmi, the elder brother, has completely destroyed that possibility. But so they're at least trying to get into the mood of what is going to happen and try to celebrate and at least make Rukmini's wedding as joyful as it can possibly be, knowing that she doesn't want to marry the demon Shishupal. No word from Krishna. 4th day of the 5 days. No word. Rukmini is in her palace, and even though she can hear and she can see all the festivities going out throughout the kingdom, fireworks, everything, she is not at all joyful. She's not at all happy. In fact, she's becoming more and more distressed, realizing that tomorrow she's going to be married to the world's greatest moron in Shishupal. She is not at all feeling happy. She's not at all. In fact, quite the contrary. She's very much distressed. So all these things are happening. The fifth day, it's the final day. Later on that day, there's going to be the fire sacrifice, and that's it. She's going to be married to Shishupal. So it's the fifth day. She gets up early in the morning. Her mother's there. All the ladies of the palace are there. They're preparing everything. And Rukmini, she looks outside her window, and she sees in the distance her Brahmana, well, not her Brahman, but her messenger, the Vaishnava Brahmin, coming towards her palace. She immediately drops everything, sends everybody out. She runs down to the front of the gates of her palace, and she calls in the Brahmin. And she's so intent upon hearing the message. First of all, she's overjoyed. At least now there is some news. She welcomes the Brahmin. She bathes the Brahmin's feet, offers him refreshments, makes sure he's comfortable and rested. And she asks, "My dear Brahmin, what happened? Did you give the message to Krishna? Did you give my letter to Krishna?" And the Brahmin says, "Yes, my dear princess, I went to Dwarka. I gave the letter to Krishna, and I did exactly as you said. When I arrived in Dwarka, rather than going to Sudharma is the court of the Yadavas, the palace, the main where Ugrasena, about all the leaders of the Yadavas, they hold court every day. It's called Sudharma. The Brahmin says, I did not go to the Yadava court, Sudharma, that's very public. I went directly to Krishna's palace. When I arrived there, the guards, they wanted to find out what was going on. I said, no, I have a message I must put directly in Krishna's hands. So the guards ushered me. They weren't going to stop me, but they ushered me, helped me inside. Krishna greeted me. He brought me inside, and Rukmini was enjoying hearing how Krishna was receiving her messenger, how Krishna was treating this Vaishnava Brahmin. And the Brahmin was telling her, Krishna came himself, brought me inside his palace, sat me on his own bed, made sure I was rested, washed my feet, gave me sumptuous prasad to eat, and he himself was massaging my feet and taking care of me. And while this was happening, then he finally asked, my dear Brahmin, are you rested? Is everything okay? How are you doing? He was asking about the kingdom of Vidarbha. He's telling all of this to Rukmini Devi. And the Brahmin says, so then I told Krishna, I said, Krishna, I have this letter from Rukmini. And the Brahmin read Rukmini's letter to Krishna. And Rukmini, she was hearing the Brahmin tell this, and she was completely overjoyed. First of all, to hear that the Brahmin actually arrived there, but she was also overjoyed to see how Krishna was welcoming her messenger and listening and enjoying listening to her letter. So she was overjoyed to hear this from the Brahmin. And the Brahmin, after reading the letter to Krishna, the Brahmin tells to Rukmini, I read the letter to Krishna, and he replied saying that he had heard about you. And of course, when Rukmini heard that Krishna said he had heard about her, she was completely in absolute ecstasy that Krishna had actually heard about her. Not only that, Krishna told the Brahmin that he was also in love with Rukmini. And when Rukmini heard the words from the Brahmin that Krishna said he was in love with her, he had always been in love with her, she was completely overwhelmed with ecstasy, knowing that Krishna was also in love with her. This is the reciprocal nature of bhakti yoga with the devotee and Krishna and his associates. She was overwhelmed, overjoyed with this. So the Brahmin says, so Krishna says he's in love with you as well. He's always been in love with you. And he says, don't worry, he's going to come and he's going to take you away. Rukmini had the biggest smile on her face she had ever had since she first heard those many, maybe weeks ago, when she first overheard that argument between her father Bhishmaka and Rukmini in the garden of the palace. She had not been smiling since that time until now. So the Brahmin says, don't worry, everything is going to be fine. So Rukmini, she offered her respects, her appreciation, gave gifts to the Brahmin, and sent the Brahmin on his way. When Krishna, back in Dwarka, when Krishna had welcomed the Brahmin, he heard the Brahmin, he sent that reply, or he told the Brahmin how he felt about Rukmini, he immediately says, okay, we have to leave now. In fact, the Brahmin said, my dear Krishna, it's taken me so long to get here that the date of the wedding is very, very soon. We have to leave. If you're going to do something, we have to do it now. So Krishna immediately, without hesitation, he called his charioteer, Daruka. He says, Daruka, get the horses ready. We're going to the kingdom of Vidarbha. So Daruka, the charioteer, he got the 4 horses of Krishna ready. Okay, I did not put the 4 horses, the names of Krishna's 4 horses in the characters. The 4 horses, the names of Krishna's 4 horses are Shaibhya, Sugriva, Megha Pushpa, and Balahaka. I believe they are, yes. Shaibhya, Sugriva, Megha Pushpa, and Balahaka. Those are the 4 horses of Krishna, and they each have their own unique different color. So Daruka went and he got Shaibhya, Sugriva, Megha Pushpa, and Balahaka. He hitched the horses up to Krishna's chariot. Krishna got in the chariot and he put the Brahmin in the chariot with him. And together they rode to the capital city, Kundina, that very evening itself. Balaram, he had heard that Krishna had for some reason got in his chariot and took off in the early evening. And Balaram is thinking, why is Krishna taking off with a Brahmin almost in the middle of the night, so to speak, in the evening? There's nowhere to go. The day is over. It's sunset, around sunset. It's time to go home. And why is he rushing off? So when he heard that this Brahmin had come from Vidarbha with a message for Krishna, Balaram immediately understood, because the entire world knows that the most beautiful princess in the world, Rukmini, is being married, and the wedding day is essentially coming up. It's essentially tomorrow. So Balaram knows Krishna is going to go there and he's going to cause some... Krishna is going to do what Krishna does. So immediately, Balaram got the commander-in-chief of the Yadava army. The commander-in-chief of the Yadava army is Satyaki. Got the commander-in-chief, all the commanders, all the warriors, and got the entire Yadava army. Balaram at the head with the other commander-in-chiefs. And they went right behind Krishna. Krishna had just left a little earlier. Balaram and the entire Yadava army went with Krishna because Balaram knew this was not going to end well. And they all went chasing after Krishna on the way to the kingdom of Vidarbha and the capital city, Kundina. Hari Hari.